What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react to some of the dumbest things that Americans have ever said. Oh boy. So today, I want to take a look at some examples of the stupidest things that us Americans have ever posted on the internet for everybody to see. So let's take a look at some of these. To be honest, I'm a little nervous about what I'm gonna see. These are my fellow Americans, after all. I'm afraid this is going to be a bit embarrassing, but that's okay. Let's take a look. Starting with this post by an American where they said, "Bro, nobody uses euros." How? How? Why? Why do Americans say this? And that's not even true. Bro, nobody uses euros. A dollar is probably 3 euros or something? What? This person has literally everything backwards here. What? How? I don't understand how Americans are so misinformed. Actually, I do understand. It's because here in America, we are only exposed to American culture. We never get to see like European TV shows or European films and movies. So we never see anybody using the euro. And here in America, we grow up and we live our whole life and we see the US dollar and still you should know better than this. Like you should know better. People it's no excuse, but I guess some Americans actually think that nobody uses the euro just because we don't see it. The entire EU uses the euro. The EU is like 450 million people or more. That's bigger than the United States. So more people use the euro than the US dollar, probably. I doubt that this American has ever thought of that before. And then they say, a dollar is the strongest currency? A dollar is probably 3 euros or something? Isn't a euro more valuable than a US dollar? This is totally. Hold on. This guy's making me go crazy. He's making my brain hurt. Let me look this up here. Euro to US dollar. Here we go. All right. It says 1.17 US dollars equals 1 euro. Yeah, see? 1 euro is worth more than a dollar. It's right. You can look it up. Why wouldn't. Why? That's another problem a lot of Americans seem to have. Posting things when we're completely ignorant and we don't bother to like research or look it up. We just post it. This is completely wrong. This is one of the stupidest things Americans have ever said. Everything about it is wrong. And very. Oh my God. Let's keep going. This is bad. This is a Reddit post where someone said, F roundabouts. Either put up a stop sign or a stoplight. F roundabouts? This American really doesn't like roundabouts. And I feel like there's a lot of Americans who actually think this way because for a long time, you never saw a roundabout here in America. It took a long time for them to catch on. Now you see them a little bit more. But I think roundabouts or traffic circles are very popular in Europe, right? I think they're pretty common. So somebody responded and said, you could learn to drive. Oh, God. Yeah. And someone else said, roundabouts are fantastic if the the directional spread is better than 90%. I don't exactly know what that means, but I think they're saying roundabouts are much more efficient. They're much quicker. They're better. And once you understand how to use a roundabout, um, life is so much better. They built a couple of roundabouts where I live, like a few years ago, and I was scared at first. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't understand. Everybody was kind of slow, and none of us really knew how. It was kind of something people avoided. But now, years later, I think roundabouts are amazing. I love roundabouts. So there's really no excuse. This American hates roundabouts. Why you want a stop sign or a stoplight? That's just totally ignorant. And honestly, you just have to be like everyone else and learn how to do it. Like what? Someone said roundabouts are cool for residential neighborhoods, but on busy roads they back up traffic. Is that true? I don't know if that's true. I think roundabouts are pretty much always more efficient than stoplights, right? I've never I've never been to a roundabout where there was like a lot of traffic. It keeps things moving. I think the Americans are wrong here saying roundabouts are slow and they don't even know how to use them. That's really ignorant and honestly like that's really stupid because that's also Americans just giving their opinion and it's just based on ignorance and not wanting to learn or understand and it's just the wrong opinion to be honest. It's just wrong. They can have their opinion on roundabouts but it's wrong. I would know. I learned how to use them. I love them. um, this is a sign where an American wrote, if you can't tip your server, don't go out to eat. Oh boy, I already know this is going to be controversial. Here in America, you have to tip when you go out to eat. It's true. That is part of our culture. It is, I mean, like legally speaking, you don't have to tip. It's not like it's a law. You don't have to tip. You would just be like the biggest a-hole. It, you would just be such a jerk to not tip. That's just how it is in America. So it says your bill is $107, then calculate a 30% tip. Now your bill is $139. Okay, this is why a lot of people say tipping is stupid. Now, like I said, tipping is part of American culture. That doesn't mean that I have to like it. I don't like it. I really don't want to have to tip. It just feels like you have to, or I don't know. We've kind of been conditioned here in America. It's just part of our culture where we've been conditioned to feel if you don't tip, you are a bad person. You're mean. You're hurting someone else by not giving them a tip. So we all like feel like a huge obligation to tip. But with that being said, there are people who don't tip, and then you get signs like this where servers and restaurant workers are like, don't go out to eat if you can't tip. And it really just kind of, once you get into the whole thing, it really just makes it all seem kind of stupid. That's true. I think in Europe, correct me if I'm wrong, but in a lot of parts of Europe, you guys don't even tip, right? Which I really like. I would love to not have to tip. The restaurant should just pay the server a fair salary, a fair wage. Give them enough money. Here in America, servers get paid like under minimum wage. I don't know how that's legal, and servers really survive on tips, or they couldn't make a living. They couldn't pay their bills. So, American society, we feel obligated to tip. It's really stupid. It shouldn't work that way. And the idea that like you can't the idea that you can't go out to eat if you don't tip is just so stupid. That's not how our society should be. That's so dumb. Like, and it makes it so going out to eat is way too expensive. It's yeah. Yeah, I don't like it, but I do it because you feel like you have to. This is a comment an American wrote saying the average price for a vial of insulin in the world is $8.81. Oh, that's around the world. $8 for insulin. Wow, that sounds pretty cheap. I'm sure it's more expensive here in America, I'm sure. This is insulin. So they commented and said, the American said, insulin is a privilege, not a right. Insulin, medicine, is a privilege, not a right? What is wrong with people? Like, what's wrong with you that you even have these opinions? Like, do you not want people to have their medicine? People need insulin to survive. What do you mean it's not a right? What's the point of a government or a healthcare system? What is the point if you can't get your life-saving medicine? What? It defies the natural order of life? Okay. I don't even know what is this American even saying? You need to appreciate it through the price system? Otherwise you would waste it? Oh, okay. So this random American they get to decide who appreciates insulin enough to get it, right? You should get to decide who gets insulin. They need to properly appreciate it and pay. No, they need to pay huge amounts of money and go into massive amounts of debt just to prove that they're worthy of medicine. What are we even talking about? Like, how? I don't even understand how this mindset gets started, like, in some Americans. Like, what's the point of paying taxes and having a government if they don't help provide medical care? Like, that's one of the fundamental reasons you would even have that. And yet, in America, I mean, sadly in America, it can cost a lot of money to get insulin and medicine. But I didn't think there were any Americans who were happy about that. This American sounds happy that our healthcare system is crazy in America. Oh my God. This is a Snapchat post that says, it's a conversation where someone said, "Where are you from?" And they said, "Korea. I'm from Korea. What about you?" And then the American says, "I'm from London." What do you mean you're from London? And then they say, "What's the UK like?" "I don't know. I've never been there." "You just said you lived there." "Yeah." "They just said they're from London." "No, I meant London, Ohio." Ah! What does this say about that person? What does this even say? That you don't know what London is? That you don't know that London is like the most famous city in the world, probably? One of the most famous, biggest cities in the world? You don't think if you say London, most people would think the UK. This person, it's like, it reminds me of when Americans go on vacation and people from other parts of the world say, "Oh, where are you from?" And Americans say, "Ohio," or like Vermont. "I'm from Connecticut." Instead of saying, "I'm from the United States," they just assume everybody knows all of the United States, and that's the default, that everybody's like... It's such a closed-minded small viewpoints that a lot of Americans have. Yeah, if you say London, that means London, England, not London, Ohio. I don't care what this American says. That's honestly like it's like they're baiting. It's like they're rage baiting. Like they're trying to make you mad, I think. If they're like, I'm from London. And you're like, oh, the UK? And you're like, no, London, Ohio. It's like, okay, you're trolling. You're actually trolling with that. Like, every American knows what London is. That is in the UK. I don't care where your London is from. You're gonna have to specify if it's not the London. That's my take. Okay, let's keep going here. This is an American who says the imperial system is greater than the metric system. Oh, what are you saying? What are you saying? This is another thing that I feel like Americans should know better, because we use the imperial system of measurement. You know, it's pretty weird. Miles, inches, yards, pounds, whatever. But in science class, we learn about the metric system. And we learn, you should learn the metric system is much better. It's just objectively better. It just makes more sense. Makes way more sense. Then somebody says, nope. Then the American says, oh, imagine saying I'm 1.829 meters tall. So stupid. It's so much easier to say I'm 6 feet tall. What? This is such bad logic. Such bad logic. Then somebody responded, thank goodness. They said, two can play at this game. Imagine saying, oh, I'm 6.5616 feet tall. It's easier to say I'm 2 meters tall. Exactly. Do you realize how idiotic your logic is? Thank you. Thank God somebody responded and explained why that is so stupid. Yeah, 1 inch is like 2.54 centimeters or whatever. That doesn't mean you can say the same criticism about the imperial system. Because like 1 meter is a random amount of yards or inches. That is, wow. The mental gymnastics that some Americans have to do to try to say. It's actually interesting to see how some Americans think. I don't know, imperial system is better than metric system. I can't believe there's Americans who say that. Do you use WhatsApp? You know, WhatsApp is not very popular in America, really. I don't use it. I don't really know anybody who uses WhatsApp. Here in America, we just use texting, I guess. So I have to admit, I don't understand WhatsApp. So they say, do you use WhatsApp? And the American says, no, I live in a first world country. Okay. Oh my God. All right. What? Why are some Americans so aggressive, like antagonistic? Such troll. No, I live in a first world country. From what I understand, there's a lot of first world countries who use WhatsApp, and isn't WhatsApp free? Isn't WhatsApp like encrypted end to end, like secure encrypted or something? Like I think it's really good. It just hasn't caught on in America for whatever reason. And isn't it free? In America, we all pay. We pay to use like SMS texting. Like we're paying a monthly fee. So if anything, we're the fools. And like I don't know if our data is probably like not even private, and like why have such a stance against WhatsApp? Obviously this American doesn't know anything about it. Like it just Americans for a lot of this stuff, for a lot of this stuff, Americans have such a big opinion on things that they don't understand at all. And they don't bother to look it up. Like, we have the internet. You can just look it up and make sure you understand. But no, we just post it. But that's why we get such entertaining American posts, I guess. And with that, that's a good place to stop because I've been more than entertained for today. I'm getting a little worked up because it's just amazing. Like the stupid things that Americans will post. It's actually incredible. But I'm glad to kind of dissect these and talk about what's wrong and acknowledge how dumb they are. That's therapeutic, I think, for me. So I enjoyed this. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on any of these stupidest things that Americans have posted. And if you're interested in more videos like this, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching and see you next time.